Submarine warfare is scarier than you think. Operation Epic Fury has pushed American fast attack submarines into the world's most lethal tactical bathtub. It's the Persian Gulf. The most violent place on Earth isn't a desert or a jungle. It's 400 feet below the waves of the Persian Gulf. Right now, as part of Operation Epic Fury, American fast attack submarines are operating on a knife's edge. I spent 20 years in the silent service. I've sat in the chair staring at sonar screens while tracking targets in waterways exactly like the Strait of Hormuz. While the mainstream media focuses on the show of force, all those cool planes taking off on the aircraft carrier decks, they're missing the real war being fought 400 feet below the waves. I'm going to show you the reality of a world where silence is your only shield and why one acoustic mistake in these shallow waters will trigger a global energy collapse that hits your family budget by the weekend. This isn't an ocean. It's a shallow, cluttered basin where 7,000 tons of nuclear-powered steel has to navigate a literal forest of 30,000 commercial ships a year. And you can see right here, this is the shipping traffic in and around the entrance and the exit of the Strait of Hormuz. This is a game of blind man's bluff, where the wall of noise from merchant traffic allows Iranian kilo subs to sit on the sandy bottom and wait. And the United States Navy knows this, and we use the engine noise, the ship noise that is radiated from all of these tankers to our tactical advantage. To assume that we're the only ones doing that, you know what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me. In this environment, a single tactical oversight doesn't just mean a lost crew. It triggers this global energy blockade. Could you imagine what would happen if, let's just say, a Navy submarine, United States Navy submarine, hits a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz? It's a 21-mile wide strait, but there's only about 4 miles of actual shipping lane there, 1 lane in and 1 lane out. You want to logjam that area? Now, they say they've got mines. We've got United States Navy vessels in there that have been removing them. But you put this kind of disaster at the bottom of the ocean with some munitions on board, a crash, any kind of sinking disaster. We're going back and we're talking about the Russian sub, the Kursk, and think about what's happening. And this is where it raises a real strategic question. If this is the front line of global stability, why is the silent service completely missing from your nightly news cycle? You're going to turn on the news tonight, tomorrow morning, you're going to see flight ops, you're going to see the B-2s, the F-18s, the F-15s, you're going to see everybody on the flight deck, right? It's going to be Top Gun. But you're not seeing these submarines. You're not. They are there. And you don't know about it, and neither does the enemy, or do they? But to understand the reality of this modern naval war, we got to look at why the most powerful assets in the American arsenal remain a total mystery to the public. It was really crazy a few weeks ago whenever a United States Navy submarine sank a warship for the first time since World War II. Now, scratch your head. Is that really what they wanted you to know, or is that the truth? You decide, and I'm not going to tell you that. You can go and look and assume whatever you want. But there are 5 specific reasons why we keep these tactics off the highlight reel, and why that invisibility is exactly what keeps the global economy from collapsing and keeping all those sailors on those submarines safe. Stealth is a culture, not a tactic. In the submarine community, recognition is a sign of being compromised. It's a compromised mission. I'm going to tell you right now, some of the things we used to do, we would remove toilet seats. We would remove the doors to the toilets. We would remove everything that could make a transient noise. If you're a submariner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You remember sitting on some steel porcelain, we'll call it. And if the world knows where you are or what you've achieved, you've failed. Silence is our primary directive. It's our primary defense. We don't want anyone to know we've been there, we've left, we're going, or we're going back. That's the big one for anyone that's in the submarine community. The next big reason is strategic ambiguity. And this comes directly from the Pentagon. They deliberately keep these operations off the news to maintain this perpetual state of doubt. If we were to broadcast how we filter out the noise of those 30,000 ships, we give the IRGC a roadmap to counteract us and all of these other countries that have submarine forces. China's got a big submarine force. Japan, Britain has some submarines. France, Iran, North Korea, and then the big bear around the corner, the Russians. So we can't put this information out. There was one guy that wrote a book, and you can go and check it out, Blind Man's Bluff. I can neither confirm nor deny anything in the book, but you decide. Now, the other thing is there's no hero shot. We don't have the SEAL Team Delta 6 bros that have this one shot going up the stairs, kicking the door in, throwing the flashbang. There's no hero. Submarines offer zero visual flash for a 30-second news cycle. There's no GoPro angles of a dogfight. There's nobody saying, well, there I was. It doesn't happen. It is one crew and one screw. That's the way the United States Navy's submarine fleet has always been, and it always will be. I left the United States Navy. We signed some NDAs. I can't talk about that stuff till I'm probably, I'll say graveside at a national cemetery. But the media, they do everything they can to show what they can. And submarines are just not exciting. Go to the ocean and just say to yourself, I'm watching submarine races. Because that's basically the submarine service in a nutshell. The media cannot see the work that we do, so they ignore it. Now, there's some boring lethality with submarines. Most of what makes a sub powerful is signals intelligence and periscope reconnaissance. It's a world of red lights and sonar screens. I'll just be honest with you. You can see the background here, very similar to a submarine that you may or may not ever get to go on. Less than 1% of the United States Navy serves in submarines. So think about that. Think about how many people you know that have eaten, let's say 500 foot below the ocean surface, right? There's just not a lot of talk. Everybody's been on this ship, been on that, been on this, but there's just nothing like being in the submarine community. I haven't talked to some of my friends in face-to-face in 15 years. But I could pick up the phone tonight, and it's like we went back to sitting on the crew's mess making fun of the nubs. That's the beauty and also the secrecy behind the submarine community. And it's crucial for winning wars. But it's not fun. We're never going to get a Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise. We got the Gene Hackman thing, right? We got Crimson Tide. We got Gene Hackman. They got Tom Cruise. I mean, think about it, right? Now, the other big thing I'd like to talk about is the psychology behind this. Some submarines, depending on the mission, the only thing that we're limited by is the amount of food that we carry. So you've got sailors that may very well have deployed from Norfolk, Virginia to the Mediterranean, to the Persian Gulf, and they're going to be gone for months. And they could very well have an underway CAS rep where you will, basically you're going to replenish all your food. But that's all that limits us. We make our own air. We make our own water. We got a hot rock to make us all the power we need. So basically, food is our only limitation. And when you're in the Med and you're around some of these other ships, they're going to resupply you and you're going to be gone for a long time. You're going to miss some birthdays. You're going to miss some holidays, some Christmases, some Thanksgivings. And nobody knows you were there, and nobody will ever tell you thank you because they don't know. But because of that, this is the most survivable mechanism, the survivable leg of the nuclear triad. Some of these submarines that we have may or may not carry nuclear weapons. Watch Crimson Tide. You know how it works. The president sends a message. Submarines get a code. They verify the code, and then we spin up what we need to spin up. But because they're moving, no one knows where they're at. That's the beauty. Minot, North Dakota, everyone knows that there are missile silos there. They know when they're there. They're there 24 hours a day. A submarine is moving. Nobody knows. And that keeps this in a constant state of precaution. It also keeps our enemy in a constant guessing game. So that's some of the reasons that the United States Navy submarine force is so powerful. I'll tell you this, being gone for that long, you miss a lot of things, miss a lot of news. We don't get updates. We don't get email. We don't get cell phone calls. It's challenging on the families. But the submarine force serves a mission that is so unnoticed that it oftentimes goes amiss. It's not cool for the news, except every now and then, let's say every 80 years, they do something like they did in the Persian Gulf, and they sink a ship. They sink an Iranian warship. This is what I did for a long time, and I know that my brothers in arms are there doing exactly what I did. You'll never see them. They'll never tell. The next war won't start a headline. It will start with a sonar contact that shouldn't be there. I'm Ben Dykes. Welcome to the Silent Service.